All right, so what I'm going to do is build something that's going to help me out and it's going to help y'all out as well. I'm going to share my screen. So far with your code challenges, right? I told y'all that I was going to be checking to see if like there's any duplicates, but I have not been doing that. It's because I'm lazy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a program to check that for me. So every time y'all submit one of the URLs, I'm gonna have a place on my computer that I'm gonna save the ones y'all already did, and I'm gonna have the app check to see if it was already submitted and tell me whether or not it was submitted or not. And all this information is going to be stored in local storage. I'm creating this completely from scratch. So this is supposed to help y'all with like your shopping cart because all of that information is supposed to be in local storage. And if say I literally just thought about this like an hour ago, so I haven't even like haven't even thought up how I'm going to make it yet. But I think it's a good example of just how y'all can like quickly make apps like that y'all think about. Let me see, URL checker. So I'll just name it, and I'm gonna create my regular files, index, and app.js. I don't think there's any need for the CSS because it doesn't have to look pretty. Code space dot to open it up in VS Code. Okay. And let's open this up in a browser, copy path. So this app is literally just going to be an input box and some text. So let me just create my structure really quick. I forgot the exclamation point don't work no more. So HTML5, let's hook up the JavaScript. .js, save that. Let's just do a quick console log. Make sure everything is hooked up. Refresh, console log A. So everything's hooked up. So let me just get rid of that real quick. So I'm gonna let's do H1. You're just gonna say homework checker. And we'll give it an input box where we have to, we'll have a placeholder that says enter the URL, type text. And under that, I'm gonna have a button that says check URL or click check URL. So we got to press that button. So every time y'all submit your assignment, I'm gonna paste it in this one, and I'm gonna run this button to check the URL. And I'll even put a on click on here so that we can I'm gonna create a function on the JavaScript side. I think I just do it like that actually. And we'll check all of this stuff. Let me save this. Check URL. Checking URL. Okay. Let's see if all of this works. Refresh. Okay. Okay, checking URL. Perfect. So the way this basically works, like I said, we enter the URL, we click this and we check it. So when we click this button, we got to have access to whatever text is inside of here. So that's the first thing I can do inside of this. I'm going to just do a quickly get the input. If y'all remember, the way you interact with the HTML is with this document. So I'm gonna just get element by tag name. I don't feel like giving the IDs because it's a very simple, simple HTML, and there's only one input element. So I'm gonna just grab it by the tag name. And then from there, I'm just gonna get the value let me get the value, and I can take that, I can destructure that out of input dot, just input. I think I can get it from input, but let me just put a debugger in here just to make sure I didn't mess something up. So refresh, put some stuff in there, debugger. So we got by tag name and the value. So I didn't do that the right way. It looks like I have to do input at 0. That's kind of weird that I feel like I should be able to just get value from there. Let me check this.
Tag name returns a collection.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. That is so weird. Okay, so let me check something actually. And this is me like debugging for my own like sanity. So since it returns a collection, what I'm expecting is this to grab all of the input boxes. I thought it only grabbed one, but it looks like it might, yeah, it grabs all of them. Okay. And that's why it returns a collection. All right. So what I'm gonna do instead is just give us ID because I just want to avoid that. I could have just selected the first one. So that would have been input at, that would have been input. Let me see if I can do it from here. Okay. So that would have been input at 0 dot value. That would have gave me what I wanted for the first one. But just to avoid any confusion, I'm gonna just name this input box. And I'll just target it by that. So the element by ID, pass that in, and then we'll grab the value out. Just put that debugger under here instead. So cancel that. Yeah, I'm gonna just log what the value is. Just do a refresh. Okay, cool. So that works. All right. So now that I grab the value.
What's the purpose for the bracket, the curly brackets around the value variable you created?
This one here. Yeah, I was actually waiting for somebody to ask that. Like, so this is destructuring, right? So this, let me log this real quick. Same as destructuring. The same as if I had like A equals name Isaiah. If I wanted to get my name from there, there's two ways to do this. We can either do a.name, or we can just straight pull out name from A like that. This is the same thing. So I'm pulling out the property A, the property name from A, and it has to be the exact same name as this. See, that's what this is. Does this make sense?
So example, A or in A and input technically. So input in your example is an object.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So this the same stuff. We can pull as many of these things out as we want. So yeah. So yeah. This
what makes input an object though? Is it just because you're targeting the element by ID, so you're taking everything from that HTML?
So technically everything in JavaScript is objects. Like literally, like almost everything I would say is an object. So this gives us back an object with a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, because I'm talking about ID. But even if this wasn't like of type object, it's still technically an object. And if it has like properties and methods, we can like grab properties and methods off of it. But yeah, this is an object. Oddly enough, even functions are objects. If I want to do this dot, let's say hey, whatever equals hi. I can do that, which looks very like weird, but I can do that. Let me just console log. Check URL is. This looks very odd because this is a function. If I do that, I can console log the function, but let me just do, what was it? Check URL dot, see, hey, it's still an object, even though it's a function.
So, and the way you wrote it is it's almost like the difference between dot notation and bracket notation, the way you wrote that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So and this is just literally a different way to pull it out, right? Dot notation, bracket notation, or object destructuring. Just all different ways to pull things out, right? Exactly. So.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
Thank you.
So that is that. So we got the value out. So I did say that I wanted to store all this information in local storage, right? So local storage is a way for us to, and it's just a quick recap, is a way for us to store information on our computer. And you find it in the applications tab, and you can go to local storage here, you can go to file right here. So literally everything in here, I store in local storage. And some of this stuff is like from a long time ago. Some of it is from like the actual course itself. I think this one I was storing my name, my age at the time, I was 32, and my favorite color, which was, I just always say black. Let me just clear everything out from here because I don't need any of that stuff. Clear, I think it's this one. Okay. So now there's nothing in local storage right now. What I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna create so local storage has key and value pairs, just like objects. How objects got like a key and a value, like I had just did with like I was like name Isaiah. Name was the key, value was my name. Local storage is the exact same thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna define a key to store all of the homework URLs inside of, and I'll give it a name of I'm gonna just say homework check or whatever. That's gonna be my key. And the reason I'm putting this into a variable is because I may reference this more than once. Anytime you reference a string more than once, you always want to put inside of a variable, just in case you change the value of the variable. Everything that's going to reference that same variable is going to all update. And I'll show you an example of that after I get this working. So let's just name this. I'll keep it like this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm first gonna check to see if we have this homework check like value in local storage. Obviously we don't, but I'm gonna check it. So I'll say data. I'll just say data equals local storage dot. The way you get things from local storage is with this get items method. And the thing I want to get is this homework check. Notice how I'm using the variable name. You pass in a string here, and that by me using a variable, I'm passing in this string. So it's going to check to see if there's any key values with that homework check, that homework check string. So if there is, we're gonna check. We're gonna do some stuff. We're gonna check to see if the current URL is in local storage. Else, we're gonna create it for the very first time. And the way I want to structure this is I want to put this inside of. I want to put all those URLs inside of an object. So I can just check it from there. So that so what I'm gonna do is I'll say URLs equals an object, and I'll pass it the value that I'm passed into the input box, because that's going to be a URL. So we're basically initializing it with one thing, and from there we can do local storage. If I want to save it to local storage, I'll do set item, and I'll pass in the the key string that I want to set it to, which is homework check, and I'll pass in the actual value. Now, local storage only takes strings. I want to save this URL. Right now, this URL is an array. So I'm gonna change it to a string by using JSON.stringify. JSON is a object that's in JavaScript that we can use to manipulate JSON, or like objects or arrays, basically like the string versions of objects and arrays. I'm not sure if you already got to the video where we make API calls, but I explained like what JSON is in those sections. It's just a string version of an object or an array. So I'm changing this array to a string with JSON.stringify, and we can use this with numbers as well to turn numbers to strings. But I'm going to save that array, that string version of array, in local storage under a key of homework check, this key right here. So I'm gonna just save this real quick, and we're gonna take care of this case after we make sure that this works. Refresh. And let's actually go grab one from Slack. I'm going to grab like one of the very first ones y'all had pasted in here. This is not loaded. Okay, let's go all the way to the top. I'm gonna have to go through these and go through them one by one. I think this one has a solution in there. Yeah, it does. So I'm gonna grab this very first one here, and I'm going to paste it into this box. I'm gonna press check URL, and maybe I gotta refresh. Okay, so after refreshing, we can see that this check homework saved the string version of this this array. We can even like open it up and see that's currently in there, right? So let me do this other case. So now that first case works. Now, if I press this again, let me just do a console log here. Just console log already exists. If I refresh, right, and I paste that in, I should see, if I paste that in, right, click this, I should see already exists, because we did a check to see if we have this data, and it is there. We were able to actually get it. And let me actually console log what data looks like as well. So refresh, paste that. Okay, so this is data right here. We can see that this is not an array. This is like a string version array. And the reason we know that is because when we have arrays, we're able to like open them up, and we can't mess that up. Okay, so if I do A, like we're able to like open up arrays like this. We can't open this up. That's how we know that this is a string. This is also the same color as this. Saying that both of them, well, almost the same color, but we can't open it up, basically. We can't open it up over here in local storage, which is different because it gives us that functionality, but over here we can't. Was there a question?
Yeah, so is your, when you have that if statement to check data, is it just checking to see if it has a value, or is it checking to see if it has that particular string that you just put in for that URL? Yeah.
Good question. So it checks to see if it has a value, a truthy value. Now, when we did if, something like this is truthy, so this is gonna fire. The only thing, I'm just gonna say fire here. The only thing that this works because it's truthy, and truthy values are everything. I'm gonna just say what falsy values are, and truthy values are everything else. Falsy values is if is not, and you can check it with this Boolean here, this Boolean object. Falsy values are empty values, values that have literally nothing. If we have an empty string, that's a falsy value. If we have a number 0, that's a falsy value. If we have undefined, that's falsy. And if we have false, obviously is false, and null is false as well. False and null is, I didn't know already, and false is false, obviously. Now, everything is truthy is everything that's not these cases. So if you actually have true in here, obviously it's going to evaluate to true. If we have a string that has something inside of it, it's truthy. And anything else like objects, let's say empty object, even if it's empty, it's truthy. Empty, empty array, empty objects, or obviously if it has something in it. And this was our case. Not that. This was our case right here, which is truthy. So so yeah, that's why I console log that. So I would just remember all the falsy values, the truthy values, or everything else. So
yeah,
so yeah,
I guess I was more asking just to see if you already had built the functionality to, I guess, to see if there was a match from that URL. But right now you're just checking to see if it has a value. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't check the match yet. So in order to check the match, I'm about to do it right now, actually. Since we know that this is a string, we have to turn this back to an array. I'm just going to say array. The way we turn this back to an array is if we use that JSON again. JSON also have a way to parse the string. So we're parsing the string. We're turning it back to an array. If I do a console log here of array, we'll see that that's why I just pasted it. No, copy this. Actually, I can put anything in here and check it, honestly. So this is, it turned it back to an array. Now we're able to open this up. From here, since we got an array, we can check to see if that value is inside of the array. So we'll say if array includes value, we'll say say URL has already been used, else we'll console log we are good. And I'm going to do something else inside this else statement as well. I just want to show you all these console logs. So so I'm gonna refresh, paste that in here, check. URL has already been used, right? Let me just delete few characters off of this and check again. We are good. So if it's in there, I'll know. If not, then if not, then I'm going to log we are good, and I'm gonna store it. I'm gonna put it in local storage as well, so that we're able to keep track of it. So I'm gonna push the new value inside of here if it's not already in there, and I'm gonna do this exact same thing where I'm just gonna reset the value. So local storage.set item this, and I'm going to set it to this array, this new array, so that we're keeping track of every URL that we're entering inside of there. And just to help me out, so I won't have to keep opening up that what's it called, this console. I'm gonna log it to the actual screen, whether or not it's been used or not. So I'll just say ID. I'll store it in a paragraph actually, since it takes up the whole line. And I'll just say checker. So checker. And I'll just change the text of this, depending on if we're good or if we're not good. So I'll just define this outside of here, because either way, I want to reference this paragraph, whether I'm in the if statement or the else statement, and I don't want to write this code twice. So get element by ID, and I named it checker. And from here, I'll say p dot inner text. I'll change the inner text to this stuff here. I'll do the same thing here. Save that. Cool. So let me get rid of this, that comment there, and just do a refresh. What I'm going to do is copy this again. So just press copy link. Okay. All right. So let me empty out local storage really quick. I'm gonna just clear that. So I'm gonna X this out as well because I don't think we need that. Just zoom in a little bit and paste this in. Check URL. Something went wrong. Because that paragraph did not update. Maybe I messed something up. Inspect. Console. I don't see any. Oh shoot, we never used it here. That was that first case where we didn't have it already in local storage. So let me actually move this paragraph outside, because if I define it in here, it's not going to be accessible within this else statement. So I'm gonna just take this out all the way out so that we can see it in both the if statement and else statement. Save this. Let me actually clear this out again and copy this. Let's do a refresh. Paste that in here. Okay, we are good, obviously. If I refresh this, we see it in there. And if I do this again, it says URL already exists. If I refresh, we can still see that there's only one thing in here. Now I'm gonna add another one. Let me make sure this one has a solution inside of here. Loading. Okay, this has solutions. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna copy this one and paste that in here. And we're good. If I do a refresh, obviously we should see. Oh wait, so there's a bug here. All right, so it looks like, okay, I didn't stringify it. that's why. So I have the first URL right here, right? And the second one just has a comma. So since I didn't stringify it, it tried to turn into a string by itself, but it did it a different way and not the way I wanted it, because I still want this to be an object. So that's already a bug in here. So we have to stringify this. So do JSON dot. I'm just do it directly in here. Stringify. I'm going to stringify the array. If this is where it broke. I think that should be good. Let me clear this out again.
And are you only using like the JSON because you're accessing local storage instead of using, like, let's say toString, like a toString method, for example?
You can use a toString method. I think that's what they used actually. Like, but that toString method is not gonna give us back. It's not gonna give it to it how we want it, how we want to. Let's say toString. Yeah, if we do array, if we do that to string, it gives us like that. But if we do JSON.stringify, it gives us back a JSON string, which is different than a regular string. A JSON string includes the brackets in there too.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see.
And we want that JSON string. So
So can you explain why there was an error?
There was error. Oh, you're saying like when I didn't see this at first?
Yeah. When you didn't add the JSON stringify to the second URL.
This one. So it was. Well, let me go back to the second one. So it wasn't an error, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be. So I'm just do a refresh here. Right? I'm just gonna put like some letters, whatever. A refresh. We see this inside of an object right here. We're able to open it up. But if I put like some more letters and check this and then do a refresh, I can see that this is not an object anymore. And we can see that we can't open this up anymore. And the reason I don't want it like this is because I want to be able to check to see if the URL is inside of there with an object. Now I can still do it with a string, but I want this to be maintained as an object. It's just easier for me to work with, like as an array, I should say. It's easier for me to work with. So that's why I added that stringify. That makes sense. It's just
So the bug was it was turning it into a string instead of turning it into the object that you wanted.
Right, exactly. It's turned into a regular string versus JSON. In JSON, we're able to convert that back to what it was originally, which was an array. We can still convert this back to an array, how this is technically, but it messes up if I add like a comma in here, because we can turn this back to an array by doing split on the comma, right? But if I have some input that has a comma inside of there, that's when it messes up. It's like, okay, now, hold on, check. Now we can't turn this back because why is that not? Hold on. I think something is I think something is broken. Inspect. Application. My computer's just going slow, probably because I got the zoom on there. Why is this not? Something is not even. Okay, we got errors. That's what it is. Uncaught. Okay, so we can't. Look like we can't even add unexpected token W. Position 0. As soon as we add these commas, it messes up. So doing that. Got the value. Okay. This one in here. This include. It's probably breaking in here. I'm not even sure. But either way, like we can't. I thought we can add commas, but we can't add commas. It looks like. So we want the ability to add all characters. It looks. I don't know why this is breaking like this. Honestly. Array. Not parse. Okay, this we can't parse it. That's why that's breaking. So we started off as an array, and now we're trying to convert it back to an array. And I didn't even think about this case. So we can't convert a string back to an array. We can't convert a string back to an array because a string is not JSON. String is not valid JSON. The only thing that's valid JSON is objects and arrays. So that is breaking here on line 9. It probably say that on here. Yeah, line 9. Yeah. So it breaks on line 9. So we since we're storing it like that, we can't bring it back. So that's another bug. But let's say that we didn't care. We didn't care to convert it back. See data. Let's say we just did. And these are like edge cases, but let's see. If we didn't care to, actually, we couldn't use this push method either if we didn't convert it back. So it would just break the whole app. So we have to convert it to JSON. There's no getting around it actually, because it's going to break everything. So JSON dot stringify. Yeah. That just opened up a can of worms. So this broke, and then this wasn't a break. It's just like, okay, let's just put it as JSON. All right, cool. So this should work. Let me test this out. Go here, and I'm just gonna get rid of that. Just do a refresh. Check it. Let's put this one in there. Copy the link. Okay. Paste that. We're good. Let's refresh. Got it in there. Let's do this one next. Copy. So paste that in here. We're good again. Let's do a refresh, and it's there. All right, cool. So so yeah, this one I'm gonna use to check your homework from now. And just to add some user experience in there, I'm just gonna after we are good, I'm going to put a set timeout. And the set timeout, actually, I'll just do this after here. The set timeout is just gonna reset everything. Like I don't wanna keep seeing this URL in here. I want that to go away eventually. Let's say after like 3 seconds. And I want this to go away as well, so that I'm able to see like, okay, this actually updated. Just do a set timeout. And input. I'm gonna do the input value, and I'm gonna set it to an empty string to get rid of that. And I'm going to set the text of this to an empty string as well, just to put all this.
And this is just to keep you from having to refresh the page each time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just user. Yeah, like if you wanted to see a clear screen, yeah, it'll stop you from having to refresh. But if you just want to, like, you just want it to clear by itself, you can just do that. So let me add another URL in here. Just be sure that this is there's a solution in here. That's fine. Just for example, I'm gonna just paste it in here. Okay, we're good, and it should go away when we're after 2 seconds, and it is in here. All right, cool. So I want y'all to use local storage for your shop. And y'all local storage might look a little bit different. Y'all might want to now, just to give y'all a clue of how the best way to structure it, y'all might want to make an array and then have an array of objects. Maybe have like product name, let's say hat, whatever, and then price or cost or whatever. Let's say $20. Any other information about it, description. Hat. Like something like that. Like that'll be like your products. So that's the clue. And then y'all obviously would make sure all your products is in local storage. That's where you're going to reference everything from. Every time you save something in local storage, maybe have like another value over there called like cart, and then make that an array of objects, like the product name and like how many, like the quantity or whatever, like how much the total cost is. However y'all want to do it is like up to y'all. But just make sure y'all storing all the information in local storage. So.
Question. What is the difference between the inner HTML and the inner text?
Good question. So it is to prevent, So so the difference is one adds HTML and one adds just text. Now that's very significant because something like this can prevent somebody from like hacking your website, for example. So let me demonstrate. So we have this here, right? Actually, let me just do let me just do a paragraph. I'm gonna just do it directly from the console. If I do document dot get element by ID, and I'm gonna get this, and I'll say dot inner ID inner text. Actually, let me start with inner HTML so I can show you. Actually, no, I'm gonna start with inner text. Right, do the inner text equals. I'm gonna say I'm gonna enter some HTML in here. I'm gonna say a paragraph, say hi, for example. Now, if I press enter, right, and I look at this element, we can see if we open this up, this has text inside of that. This is not HTML, it's just text, right? This is convert. We can see the tags on there and everything. But if I do inner HTML, obviously we're gonna put HTML inside of there. HTML, I think it's all caps. Inner HTML. Now we actually put HTML. We don't see those tags. Now this is dangerous because what a hacker could do is let's say you we have some functionality like this on your website or whatever. They can insert HTML to trigger like an API call from your website and then have it do certain things. For example, we're inserting a paragraph here, but they can insert like a script tag and they can put a function inside of there that calls itself. And that function can make an API call to their database or their server or whatever. And then it can insert some bugs inside of your, or something malicious inside of your website, or they can insert that stuff inside of your database. Like there's like stuff that they can do by inserting HTML. And they can insert this HTML directly to your server as well. And if your server is reading it as HTML, the API call can be made from your server, and then it can like damage your depending on what the server what the code does, it can damage your backend. So one of the safety things you always do is you always want to enter by inner text and not inner HTML because of that main reason. So that's the difference between the two. One adds text, one adds HTML, and one is safer than the other. So
Okay.
So that is that. Any other questions on this stuff? All right, cool. So right now it is 10:53. We could take a break until 11, and then after that we can let's call it. We can either do code challenges, or we can do the group project. Whatever y'all want to do, y'all can think about it, whatever. But we'll come back at 11. I'll be here obviously to answer any questions, and everybody else can like take a quick break or whatever. Stop the recording. Pause it. Okay, recording was paused. Or no, I think that is not paused. I think that was a sharing.